What's going on, everybody? It's GameUnboxingReviews here, and welcome back to another LEGO Marvel Avengers news update. So yes, this is the video you've all been waiting for. We're going to be talking about all the new characters, all the new abilities, all the new vehicles, all the new features, all that kind of stuff, and it's going to be awesome, and there's just tons and tons to talk about. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Alright, so how about we start off with some really good news. For those of you who are picking up LEGO Marvel Avengers on the Wii U, you'll be happy to know that yes, you will also be able to get the Season Pass. And this is brilliant because it's a first for LEGO games. So many people comment to me every day saying, you know, it's not fair that the Wii U version doesn't get DLC packs. And I totally agree. I want everyone to have the exact same experience that I'm going to have on PS4. So the fact that you're getting DLC packs now is brilliant. Now, bear in mind, this is just the Season Pass. That's all I know that the Wii U is getting for now. However, my guess is all of the DLC packs will become available eventually. I mean, if they can give you the Season Pass, what's stopping them and giving you the pre-order bonuses like the Thunderbolts character pack and all that kind of stuff? So I definitely think you'll get all of that eventually, but you know, we will just have to wait and see. Now, obviously, we all know that Tony Stark is one of the coolest characters in this game, at least I think so. I mean, he's got all these different suits that have different abilities. He's got Malibu Mansion, Avengers Tower, he's got different vehicles he can drive and all that kind of stuff. He's just awesome in this game. He does everything you would want, everything you wanted in LEGO Marvel Superheroes from Iron Man is in this game, and that is just so cool. But Tony is also useful out of the suit. Here, of course, you can see him repairing some broken items in the game, so that'll probably be quite useful, you know, when you're walking about and you need something repaired, you bring out Tony Stark, which is really nice because he, if you think about it, he has a lot of abilities. If you combine everything we know that he can do as Iron Man, along with Tony Stark, he's quite useful, and my guess is he can probably hack items as well, just like in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. So yeah, Tony Stark seems like a pretty cool character, and I like, you know, what he's wearing right there, and he's fixing the electric generator and stuff like that. It's really cool. And of course, after that, you can use an electric character, so for example Thor, to charge it and then see what happens next. What happens next? We will just have to wait and see. Next up here, of course, we can see Doctor Strange. Now, I don't know much about what Doctor Strange can actually do in the game. I'd imagine some of his abilities from the first game will cross over, but two things I did find out. One, obviously, he can fly, which is great. Really cool flying animations and all that good stuff, but he also has the ability to create a bubble shield. So, yeah, Doctor Strange can create a bubble shield. I would imagine, obviously, that will just protect him. So maybe when you're going into a random crime, when you're helping some police or something, and the guy starts shooting at you, as Doctor Strange, you could create the bubble shield and they wouldn't even be able to touch you. I think he's going to be a fun character to play as, and I'm excited to see what other abilities he has in store. Now here, of course, we have Daredevil, and Daredevil was cool in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, but this time round, they've made him a billion times better. I mean, Daredevil does everything you would want him to be able to do and more in this game now. So basically, one thing I need to mention is Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Iron Fist are all based on their comic book versions and not the Netflix versions. Even though we haven't even seen Iron Fist yet, it's based on the comic books. So basically, you won't see Charlie Cox as Daredevil and you won't see Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. As much as I would have loved to see that, you're not going to get it, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. But here's the cool thing. So these are obviously child-friendly versions of these characters, but here's the thing. I was watching some gameplay that featured Daredevil in it. It was actually a side quest, and Daredevil actually referenced something that happened in Daredevil. He referenced, I think it's the first episode, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first episode, and he goes to the docks and he takes out a bunch of guys, and he says in the side quest in this game that they want a rematch or something, and then they all come down on ropes and stuff, and you start fighting all these guys, and they don't look like the guys from the show, but it's basically referencing the events of that, so it's kind of taking its own spin on it. And he even references that he hasn't been doing this long. You know, he says he's kind of just started this job, so in a way, it kind of is the Netflix Daredevil, but in a comic book, child-friendly way, and I love that, I really do. Hearing him say that he's been Daredevil not very long, and hearing him reference those episodes, that makes me like this version of Daredevil way more than I first originally did. Now, the other extremely cool thing about Daredevil in this game that I've been talking about quite a bit of, and I wasn't entirely sure how it would work, is he can swing. He can swing in the game, and it's amazing. It really is. I was thinking, would it be exactly the same as Spider-Man? And it's actually not. It's very different the way he swings in this game, and it's really cool. I'll put the link in the description so you can check out the gameplay for yourself. Basically, all the gameplay that I talk about in this video will be in the description, so you can just watch hours and hours of gameplay of this game, because why wouldn't you want to? So now we move on to an extremely impressive character in LEGO Marvel's Avengers. It is Miss Marvel, aka Kamala Khan, and she is absolutely incredible in this game. First off, let me just show you a screenshot of how she runs. She flops all over the place and everything. I can't even describe it. I mean, you can see right here, it's insane. It's insane how she runs along, but it's awesome. I love it. I absolutely love it. She's a really cool character. And then we have this other one here, and she can do the same thing that Mr. Fantastic could do in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, which is basically like her own human parachute, which is pretty cool. And she can probably do that when you skydive from the SHIELD helicarrier and come into the different hub worlds and all that kind of stuff. And then something which I wasn't expecting, she can actually shrink. She can shrink to a really small size, which is really cool. And then I was thinking, obviously, that would be it. You know, with these LEGO games, they've always just had one thing where you can either shrink or you can either increase your size. But somehow, this time round, they've included both. So not only can Kamala Khan shrink, she can also increase her size. She can become a giant, and you can go stomping around the city as Kamala Khan, smashing up cars, destroying lampposts, garbage bins, all that kind of stuff. You can do whatever you want. She really, honestly, I have to say, I enjoyed Mr. Fantastic in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and I enjoyed Plastic Man in LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, but Miss Marvel takes the cake. I mean, she is hands down the best flexible character I've ever seen in any LEGO game, and I seriously cannot wait to play as her. And yes, just in case you were wondering, Kamala Khan isn't the only character that can turn into a giant in this game. Here, of course, we can see Black Goliath in his minifigure form. Really, really cool looking minifigure, like the design. But then here we can see him in his giant form, and he's just massive. Now, with the addition of these kind of characters like Kamala Khan and Black Goliath, it makes me think that Ant-Man will not only be able to shrink, but also turn into Giant Man. And if his costume actually changes when you become Giant Man, I will freak out. I mean, that would just be so cool. I really, really hope that Ant-Man can transform into Giant Man and it changes his whole suit and all that kind of stuff, because that would just be incredible. Now here, of course, we can see Fing, Fang, Fume in his normal form, and obviously we know about this character. We know everything he can do. He can shoot fire and all that kind of stuff. What you want to know is what else can he do, and of course I've already stated in some of the videos that he can increase his size. He can become absolutely massive, and people are really curious, how big can he get, because we have yet to see it. Well, here's a screenshot of just how big he can get, and it was pretty difficult to get this one, because literally, he fills up the entire screen. I'm not even kidding. He fills up the entire screen when you're walking around. You feel like Godzilla. It's insane. And yes, of course, he can still fly when he's in his giant form. So you can be a absolutely massive Fing Fang Foom flying through the streets of New York City, stopping muggings. It's just, I can't make this up. This is just so cool. Fing Fang Foom is definitely one of the characters I'm really looking forward to playing as. He's probably the biggest character in the game, although I think Will Evans said in an interview that there are other characters that can increase their size like this, or he said there's characters in the game that can increase their size like this, so that he could very well be one of many characters that can do this. But for now, Fing Fang Foom is probably the best because he can fly, he can shoot fire, and he's just absolutely massive, and I just love it. Now this is something that I noticed in gameplay, which is quite small, but I found it to be one of the coolest things that I've seen in any gameplay for LEGO Marvel's Avengers, and there was no way I was not going to show it. I would have been crazy not to show this. So basically, just to explain, as you know, there's minifigures in the game that can pick up debris, they can pick up cars and stuff like that, characters like Luke Cage, and then you have big figures like Hulk who can also do the same. Hulk can pick up cars, and he can throw debris and all that kind of stuff. But what I wasn't expecting was, I was watching the gameplay of Devil Dinosaur, he's walking around, and then all of a sudden he picks up a car with his mouth, it's in his mouth, and then he chucks it in the air, and then he hits it with his tail, and it just goes flying, and then it blows up. I can't explain how cool that is. I mean, That's just awesome, being able to run around the streets. First off, I have to be honest, right? I love Devil Dinosaur. I think he's an awesome character, but I was starting to think that walking around the streets as a dinosaur would be kind of boring because they're quite slow. But when you watch gameplay of him causing havoc, it's not boring in any way. Seriously, I can't wait to run around New York City as Devil Dinosaur and Moon Boy and just start destroying taxis and cars and buses and all this kind of stuff. It is so cool. And the fact that he picks up the car with his mouth and you can carry it around, you can throw it wherever you want. It's absolute genius, and I can't wait to play as him. Now, obviously, this game, of course, includes the legend that is Stan the Man Lee's back from LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and some may argue that he's better than he was in that game, and honestly, I may even say that too, because he has such cool abilities this time around. So one of the cool abilities that I found out that he actually has is Quicksilver's speed. So he has his own version of super speed. He can run super fast, he can run up walls, on water, and all that good stuff. We already knew this, but he has Captain America's shield. He has his own version with a mustache and glasses and everything. It's amazing. He also has Hawkeye's bow, but it shoots pencils, and he even has swinging abilities yet again. Now, in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, he had Spider-Man's abilities, but in this game, Spider-Man isn't in this one, so my guess is he has his own version of Daredevil's billy clubs, or maybe he has something else. Maybe there's another character that has a swinging ability that we don't know about yet, but my guess is he has maybe brown billy clubs or something, just his own version. But yeah, he has swinging abilities, which is insane. I mean, he has so many ways of getting around the city. He's got, of course, his super speed, he's got his swinging, and what brings me next to his suits. Now here, of course, we can see the suit wheel, and obviously, you know, you can fly around the city as Iron Stan and all that good stuff, and you can also use the Stan Buster. But if we look to the right, we can see Excelsior Hulk. Excelsior Hulk is back from LEGO Marvel Superheroes, but better than ever, of course. He can super jump, he can climb walls, he can do all the stuff he could do in the first game, but more. And it's awesome. I mean, Stan Lee has so many abilities. Like I said, you know, you could be flying around the city, swinging, running, jumping, it's so much, just so much. Stan Lee is incredible in this game, and I can't wait to play as him. Now here is, of course, one of the most anticipated features in LEGO Marvel's Avengers, and it is, of course, the suit-ups. Now here we can see a wheel of suits. This is called the Jarvis wheel, and it's the suits that you can suit up into in the game. Now, two things to mention. One, Mark 38 Igor you can't suit up into, but you can play as. So if you're a fan of that suit, you can't suit up into it, but you can at least play as it. And with the Hulkbuster, you can only use the Hulkbuster in the hub worlds. At least that's what I've seen. I mean, I think someone said only Manhattan, but I'm sure I've seen some gameplay of the Hulkbuster on Barton Farm. So you can probably use the Hulkbuster in every hub world, but no missions. You know, you can only use it in the mission where you're actually fighting Hulk in Johannesburg. Anyway, let's talk about the suits that we can see and if there may be more. So here, of course, we can see the Mark 1, the Mark 5, the Mark 6, the Mark 7, the Mark 16, the Mark 17, the Mark 25, the Mark 33, Mark 38 not present, but you can still use it, Mark 40, Mark 42, Mark 43, Mark 44 Hulkbuster, Mark 45, and Superior Iron Man. So that is all of the suits in this image. Question is it all of them? My guess is yes. I'm pretty sure this is every suit in the game. I mean, if there is more, then it'll be DLC packs, but I doubt we can do any more. Arthur said that suit-ups actually take up a lot of memory, and they've really had to work hard to get the game as it is to allow you to have this amount of suit-ups. So characters like Pepper and Rhodey probably won't be able to suit up into different suits either, or Obadiah Stane into Ironmonger, which is a little bit of a shame, but honestly, you know, Tony is he's amazing. He does everything you would want him to be able to do. So if I can't, you know, suit up as Rhodey or Pepper, then at least I can play as them. You know, at least I can play as Pepper as Rescue, and I can play as Rhodey as War Machine and Iron Patriot. So to be honest, it's not that much of a big deal. Now, I just had to show this. Here, of course, you can see the Mark 6 Iron Man suit up. The gantry arms actually come out of the ground, and they start putting all of the pieces on Tony, and then the helmet comes down, and boom, there's the visor. I mean, that is just... the amount of attention to detail in these suit-ups is incredible, and if you think that one is good, wait until you see what's next. So what you're seeing right here is probably one of my favorite things about this game so far. I mean, as soon as I saw this, I was absolutely blown away. I mean, first off, the Superior Iron Man suit is in the game. That made me so excited. But then when I actually saw this suit up, I was blown away. First off, it comes out of his skin, just like the comics, which is absolutely incredible. And then once it actually appears all over his body, Tony's eyes light up, and then the actual helmet comes in, and then the visor comes down, and honestly, that is probably my favourite suit up I've seen in the game so far, and that is hands down going to be the suit I am going to use the most as Iron Man in this game. It's incredible, and honestly, I think it's really cool seeing the Marvel Cinematic Universe Tony wearing a comic book costume, because, I don't know, I just think there's something really cool about that. So yes, Superior Iron Man suit is officially in the game, you just saw it there, and it looks incredible. Now here's something I wasn't expecting to see in this game, but is extremely cool. So here of course we can see Black Goliath lying on top of a special Avengers jet. Now quickly before I mention everything else, one thing I do want to say is that they've actually added a new feature to the game where when you get into a vehicle, the other character will automatically jump inside and drive along with you as well, which is awesome. That should have been in the game ages ago, and you know, in all the other LEGO games. So it's great to see that they've finally added that. And the funny thing is about big characters like Black Goliath is that he can actually sit on top of the vehicle. As you can see here, he's sitting on top of the Avengers jet. So it's pretty cool that they've added that feature to the game. Anyway, what we're going to talk about is of course the space travel. So what happens is you get in this special Avengers jet, and then you'll see here you're flying into space. So you fly all the way up to space. It's basically the loading screen, but they said they didn't want to take you out the experience, so you can actually move the jet around while it's flying up to space and all that kind of stuff, which is really nice. And then you'll get to space, and you'll see that you get a bird's eye view of Earth. You get you get to see all of Earth, and then you can access all the different missions that you've completed, missions you haven't completed yet, and you can also go to all the different hub worlds. So this is where you access pretty much all the worlds and all the missions and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a really neat way of being able to go into space. I think it's really cool. And if you zoom in into the image, you know, the screenshot that I've provided, you can actually see that Iron Man and Black Goliath are actually in the jet. So that's a nice little attention to detail. So it's not just an icon that goes across the map, it is actually that vehicle, and it is actually flying above the Earth, and depending on which characters you're using, they will actually appear inside that jet. So it's very nice little attention to detail there. Alright, so now we're going to talk about New York City, all of the really cool things that I found out about New York City in LEGO Marvel's Avengers. So New York features the Avengers Tower. Now with Avengers Tower you can go inside that at any time, and one of the cool things about it is it actually stores some of your collectibles. So one example of that is there's actually missions in the game where Hulk has to take a selfie. There's one mission where Pepper wants to sell the rabbit that Tony gave her in Iron Man 3, and what you can actually do is you can take the picture for her, and that's how you complete the side quest. So it's a bit of fun, you know. As we saw in the very first trailer, we saw Hulk taking a selfie. There's actually loads of side quests in the game that revolve around Hulk taking selfies, and all your selfies will be stored somewhere in Avengers Tower, so that's kind of neat. Then we also of course have the SHIELD helicarrier, but this time around it's going to have a little bit of a different interior. It's going to be similar, but it's going to have some differences as well, so it's not completely the same as LEGO Marvel Superheroes. And this time around as well, what's really cool that I think is a great idea is there's these little tiny boost pads, and once you go up to them and press triangle, it boosts you all the way to the top of SHIELD helicarrier without having to fly up there or whatever. You know, you don't have to do that anymore. You can literally just jump on the pad and it'll take you all the way to the top of the SHIELD helicarrier really quickly. Very, very cool little feature. I like that one very much. Another thing is that some of the locations you're going to expect to see. So obviously I've just mentioned Avengers Tower and SHIELD helicarrier, but there's more. There's the new Avengers facility, and I don't know if there's going to be an interior for it, but it is actually there in the game, which is great. We've also got the underground Hydra base. Again, I'm not sure if that's an interior. It probably is. I mean, if it's an underground base, then it obviously has to be some sort of interior, but yes, there's an underground Hydra base, which is cool. And there's also other famous comic book locations, such as Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, Pym Laboratories, and probably more stuff that we don't even know about yet. And finally, another thing to mention before I finish up on talking about Manhattan is you can now take a portal to nowhere and deal with the collector, who will then sell you red bricks, obviously if you have the, the right amount of studs. Now the thing is about that is I know a lot of people have been like, so is nowhere a hub world? What is the deal with that? My guess is you literally just come into his little workshop, where all his collections are and stuff like that. I don't think you can actually go outside. I think it will just be that room that you'll be able to walk around in and then buy red bricks from. But who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe it's big. Maybe it's a huge area that we don't even know about yet and we haven't even seen. We will just have to wait and see. Now here we can see some of the vehicles that we can expect to drive in LEGO Marvel's Avengers. So first up we have the Dark Elf flagship from Thor the Dark World. We have the bathtub, and I was trying to think at first when I saw this, I was like, why on earth would they let you drive a bathtub in this game? And I realized in Avengers Age of Ultron there's that scene where Tony is in, I believe it's in Sokovia, near the end of the movie, and he flies into this house, and then there's these people while the building is, just completely falling down, and he's like, okay, get in the tub, and then they get in the tub and he flies out with the bathtub and they're inside it. So that's what they've done. They've actually given us the bathtub from that scene. So that's interesting. It's pretty cool. Then after that, of course, for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, we have Lola. And Lola not only drives, but just like the show, she can fly as well, which is really nice. Not sure what that vehicle is after it, but I do know the next one is a police helicopter, which also featured in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. After that, we have a mini S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, which was also in LEGO Marvel Superheroes. And finally, we have the Thanos copter, which is Thanos' helicopter. And the great thing is he can also drive it as well. So yeah, there's some pretty cool vehicles. But Arthur Parsons said obviously tons of those are locked. We don't know what those are, so that's very exciting. And he also said that there will be more vehicles in the final build of the game. So, these builds aren't finished yet, which is really nice. So I'm looking forward to seeing what vehicles we're going to be able to drive in the final build, and also what DLC vehicles, because they've probably got some plans. So that should be really cool. And last but most certainly not least, here we have a massive grid of characters that we can expect to see in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, and I'm going to give you a rundown of all of them. I'm not really going to go into detail about each of them because honestly I would be here for absolutely hours. So I'm just going to tell you which characters are in the game, and of course there are more that we don't know about, and I've split this into two parts because I've had to make two different images for them because there's just so many characters, and I haven't bothered to cover costumes either. So what you can do is just check out the videos in the link in the description, and just see some of the costumes for yourself, because there's quite a lot. There's like Captain America in his civilian clothes, just all that kind of stuff. There's loads of them. So let's get started. So we've got A-Bomb, Agent Coulson, Agent Carter, Agent Sitwell, Agent Williams, which is basically just a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, but it has a name for some reason, Aldrich Killian, Amadeus Cho, America Chavez, Arnim Zola, Baron Strucker, Batroc, Beta Ray Bill, Beth, Black Goliath, Black Widow, Brock Rumlow, Bruce Banner, Bucky Barnes, Butterball, Captain America, Falcon, Captain Britain, Captain Universe, Chase Stein, Chitauri Tourist, Cloud9, The Collector, Cottonmouth, Count Nefaria, Crimson Dynamo, Crossbones Classic, Daredevil, Dark Elf, Detroit Steel Armor, Devil Dinosaur, Diamondback, Helen Cho, Dr. List, Doctor Strange, Dum Dum Dugan, Egghead, Ellen Brandit, Eric Selvig, Falcon, Fandral, Fing Fang Fume, Gargoyle, Fanbula Eddie, Harley Keener, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Heimdall, Hulkling, Human Torch, Android, Iron Fist, Iron Legion, Iron Man, Mark 38 Igor, Ironmonger, and Iron Patriot. So that's all of them on the first part of the grid. Quite a lot of characters, and a really nice variety, honestly. I think that's a really good variety of characters, and some very cool ones and some very new ones that we didn't know about yet, so that's really nice. And last but most certainly not least, here of course we have the final part of the grid. So we've got Jack of Hearts, Jane Foster, Jessica Jones, Korvac, Curse, Loki, an unknown character, Lou Ferrigno, who can of course transform into the 70s Hulk, which is awesome, Luke Cage, Madam B, Malekith, Trevor Slattery, Mantis, Maria Hill, Mighty Destroyer, Moon Boy, Moon Knight, Carol Danvers, which is of course Captain Marvel, Kamala Khan, Nick Fury, Nova, Odin, The Other, Pepper Potts, Pepper Mark 42, Quicksilver, Ragnarok, Ravage, Red Hulk, Red Skull, Rescue, Scarlet Witch, Sentry, She-Hulk, Lady Sif, Scar, Speed, Spitfire, Squirrel Girl, Stan Lee, The Swordsman, Taskmaster, Thanos, Thor, Thor Girl, Jane Foster, Tony Stark, Trauma, Ultron, Valkyrie, Vale, Vision, Volstagg, War Machine, Wasp, Wendigo, Wiccan, and X-Ray. So that is all of the characters that we know of so far in this grid. I mean, obviously there's more to be announced. Arthur did actually say that the characters that are locked, yes, we don't know about them, but he also said there's other characters that are going to be in the grid which aren't even on this build of the game yet. So that's really cool. So we've got so many characters to look forward to, and I love all the different costumes and things. Like they've got Arnim Zola, and it's actually the movie version from Captain America the First Avenger, but you can also unlock his comic book version, which is from LEGO Marvel Superheroes. So they've really thought about how to please each fan, both from the Marvel Cinematic Universe side of it and also the comic books. And yeah, I'm really impressed. And of course, this grid is only going to get bigger and bigger with the DLC packs that come out, and I can't wait to see what they have planned. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it for this video. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the video, I had so much to talk about, and I hope you've enjoyed watching it as much as I've enjoyed making it, because I am just beyond excited about this game. I mean, every little thing about it, all the gameplay that has been released has been absolutely incredible, and please do watch it because there's just such cool stuff. I mean, the way Quicksilver runs around is super fast, just like we all hoped. He runs up buildings and all that kind of stuff. Hulk's super jumps are so much better than I ever imagined. I mean, he could even super jump when he's perched on a wall, and when he's actually climbing the wall, it damages the buildings, and when he lands, it destroys stuff and it destroys the ground. There's just so much, and the superior Iron Man suit up is absolutely incredible. I didn't even think they were going to give him a suit up, and it's brilliant. It really is. That is definitely my favorite Iron Man suit, and overall this game looks absolutely phenomenal, and I seriously can't wait to finally play it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one in saying that. Alright guys, so I want to thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for lots more videos real soon, and as always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe.